Number 95 of Common Knowledge, where I take a look at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards and tell you, are they any good in the Pauper format or not? Our first card of the day is Enthusiastic Study. For 2 and a red, you get an instant that says target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn, and you also learn. It's from Strixhaven. This card got a lot better recently with the release of the Avatar set, and will probably get a lot better still when the new Strixhaven set comes out. It should be relatively soon, at least in this in the year 2026, which is where I'm in right now and where you are as well. If you're watching this the day it comes out. So learn, if we haven't discussed it before, you may reveal a lesson card you own from outside the game or in your sideboard as it works for the Pauper format anyway. And put it into your hand, or you may discard a card to draw a card. So it can rummage too if you don't have any lessons. But there are some pretty good lessons in Avatar that you might actually want to go grab with a card like this. And this isn't an embarrassing card in and of itself. +3/+1 and a creature gains trample. Okay. It costs a little much. 3 mana for a pump spell for a combat trick is a lot. But it is also kind of a tutor, a limited tutor, but a tutor nonetheless. Or at the very least a rummage, and that's fine too. I think this is okay. There are better learn cards. There are better learn cards in red, but at least cheaper ones. But I think this one's okay. I think you could build a deck that made pretty good use of this, and it might even get better once Strixhaven comes out if there are even more lessons in that as well, which I have to imagine there will be. It'd be ridiculous if they didn't put more lessons into that set. Let's give it I'm going to give it a 3.3. I think it has some potential. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Jedit O'Janan is 4 white, blue for a 5/5 legendary creature, Cat Warrior. It was uncommon, and then it became common in an online set, which I never really like. And hey, look, this that's pretty cool art. That's a fun thing. And that's a more expensive version. I mean, they're all pretty expensive. You're spending 7 mana for a vanilla 5/5. It is a legend, so cast down doesn't work on it. That's about all I can say for this. It's not very good. It's these old Legends cards. They cost so much. I don't think Wizards during the Legends time understood that putting more colored pips on a creature that makes it harder to cast, means the creature should be better. Or there's also the thought that creatures are just really, really bad in old Magic. And these guys might have been slightly better than some of the Drek that you'd see in Alpha for the creature wise anyway. Tons of great spells in Alpha, obviously, but not a ton of great creatures. So yeah, this guy's pretty bad. I'm going to give him a 1.2, and the 0.2 is really just because I like the nostalgia, I guess. Let's keep going. To Luminous Rebuke, it's 4 and a white for an instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature. Destroy target creature. These are okay. These are perfectly okay cards. The problem is we have Ride's End, which is the same mana cost, also an instant, also casts 3 less to target a tapped permanent. And it exiles target creature or vehicle. Generally the same, not a whole lot of vehicles you have to worry about in Pauper, but it exiles instead of destroys. And that makes a huge difference. And these sets came out in the same year. Kind of wild that they said, hey, here's this card. And they said, actually, you know what, forget that card. Here's this card instead that's way better. Luminous Rebuke is fine. It's fine. We have better removal spells in white. Probably have better removal spells than Ride's End also in white, but that is just a straight up better card than this one. And it makes it really hard to give this anything halfway decent as a score, even though it's a fine removal spell. I think we end up giving this a 2.2, but in a vacuum, I think this would be closer to like a 3.5. It's just that we have better cards, that like obviously better cards. Shock. I'm pretty sure we've done Shock. I'm almost positive we've done Shock because I think we've gone through the different Shock arts before. Shock, great magic card. It's just not Lightning Bolt. That's really the only bad thing you can say about Shock, in my opinion. Frozen Shade is 2 and a black. Have we done Frozen Shade before? Because I feel like I've also talked about this one as well. We'll do Frozen Shade. 2 and a black for a 0/1 Shade. You can pay a black, and this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So you can do some pretty dirty things, right? You attack in with this and maybe a bunch of other creatures, and your opponent goes, okay, well, and a lot of untapped mana, untapped black mana. That is also very important. But you attack in, and your opponent really has to choose their blocks carefully. Do they block this knowing you could pump it a bunch, and what do they block it with? How much can you pump it to kill their creature and keep yours alive? Do they try to block other creatures and force you to try to put all the mana in this? It's a real nasty kind of card. It can do some nasty stuff. The arts on this one, it really just does have the 2 arts, doesn't it? And yeah, they all like the old version. I like this 5th edition art though. Dieter Lizzie doing good work again. But you know, the Douglas Schuler art is also quite good as well. I don't think you can go wrong with the art. The card itself though, little expensive. What deck does it really go into? You know, mono black sacrifice can make creatures pretty big that you don't have to worry about paying more mana for. You can get a similar idea when you play the Carrion Feeder. You swing with the Carrion Feeder, and how many guys are you going to sacrifice to make that Carrion Feeder bigger? But then those are +1/+1 counters, so it gets to stay that big. That's the real problem with Frozen Shade. Also, the other problem with Frozen Shade, Carrion Feeder costs a single black mana, and this costs 3. And that's math you got to consider. I still think it's a pretty good card. I'm still going to give it a 2.7. I'll do better than that. I'll give it a 2.9 actually, and we'll move on. But I think that's a cool card. Humble Budoka, originally from Champions of Kamigawa and only from Champions of Kamigawa. It is 1 and a green for a 2/2 human monk with Shroud. Grizzly Bear with Shroud. Is that good? Better than Grizzly Bear, but not by much. You know, hexproof is obviously just better in most cases, so you can put your Bogle style stuff on it, your enchantments and your equipment and things like that. This guy can't get any of those things. But Anthem effects and things like that, this guy will still get pumped and swings in, and your opponent can't lightning bolt it. And you know, there's something to consider. You know, are there enough Anthem effects that you could play in a Shroudish deck, like a deck that has enough Anthems and enough Shrouded creatures outside of just this guy? Could you make something that would be kind of gross that way? Maybe you could, but most of the time this is just a Grizzly Bear with either a little extra gravy on it or even a detriment, depending on the deck building that you're trying to do. I'm not going to give it an amazing score. Let's go with something like let's go with like a 1.9. Not quite a 2. Hey, another Portal 3 Kingdoms card. Love seeing these. Zodiac Rooster is 1 and a green for a 2/1 bird. It's got Planeswalk. It's cool. It's not very good. it's just not even as a sideboard piece that you bring in against white. It's just not that great. Also, it's $23.50 because this set is pretty rare, especially in English. You know, I think if you go to, I don't think it shows Japanese prices. No, it doesn't. But you can get this in Japanese for a lot cheaper. But it's not it's not worth it. It's a cool chicken. I mean, it's a rooster, but you know, cool chicken on the card. I don't know, man. It's it's like a 1.5. Don't stop making me say things about cards I don't want to say bad things about. Sage the Unknowable is 1 in a blue for a 0/4 human wizard. You can tap to add colorless, but spend this mana only to cast a colorless spell or to activate an ability. I think this is pretty good. And you know it's pretty good because it's from Modern Horizons 3, where most of the Pauper cards are from these days. A mana dork in blue. That's conditional for sure, but condition you can get around. And 2 mana for a 0/4. This thing blocks a bunch of stuff all day long. It's not bad. It needs the right deck for it, but it's not bad. What do you give something like that? I can give it a 2.5. I think 2.5 is a fair score for something like that. It's all right. Vidalcan Blade Master is 2 in a blue for a 2/3 Vidalcan Soldier. It's got prowess. That's it. Monastery Swiftspear has prowess, and that thing's banned in Pauper. But it's also got haste. And it also costs 1 red mana. This costing 3 mana. And being a 2/3, not haste, not anything else other than the prowess. It's just too normal. Yeah, it's just too normal. I'm not going to give this a good score. Let's give it its power and toughness. We haven't done that for a while. Let's give it a 2.3. And keep on trucking. To Loxodon Mender for 5 and a white. You get a 3/3 Elephant Cleric. You can pay a white and tap it to regenerate target artifact. I don't think that's worth it. That's a lot of mana for a 3/3 that you continually have to put mana into to regenerate artifacts. I don't like paying 6 mana only to have to pay even more mana. That sucks. That sucks. Mirrodin card, you know how much I like Mirrodin, but I think as a card, we got to give this thing 1.5. It's pretty bad. Saproling Migration is 1 in a green for a sorcery that says Kicker 4. You can pay an additional 4 mana as you cast this spell. So the normal spell, the base spell says create 2 1/1. Jesus, create 2 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. If this spell was kicked, create 4 of those tokens instead. So for 2 mana you get 2 1/1s. For 6 mana you get 4 1/1s. I like modular kind of cards that have versatility in what they do and when you cast them. Later in the game, you got 6 mana, and you go, sure, I'll take 4 of these little dudes instead of just 2. And Saproling's an interesting creature type. There's stuff you can do with it. Even in Pauper, there's stuff you can do with it, and that's kind of cool. I just think you can do better things. I think there's just better things you can do with your mana. Even in a Saproling deck, I think there's other things that make Saprolings at a more efficient or at least a more consistent rate. There's the buyback one for sure. That's always a popular one. But I just think you have better options. It's not terrible. I mean, I'm still going to give it a 2.4. But yeah, I think you can do better. I think you could do just a bit better. Our final official card for today is Elderleaf Mentor. For 3 and a green, you get a 3/2 Elf Warrior. When this creature enters, you create a 1/1 Elf Warrior creature tokens. 2 elves for 4 mana. And you're getting 4/3 in total power and toughness. Not terrible. It's a couple bodies. I think it's better than the Saproling thing. Like, sure, you can pay the 2 mana just to get the 2 guys, but this kind of goes in the middle, and you're getting, I guess not quite as good because that's technically 4/4, or this would be 4/3. I don't know. I still think this is generally a better card. Problem is, where do you play it? Elves doesn't want this. Elves wants a bunch of cheaper elves that they can put out. They'll do just fine. But who does? It is a warrior. That can also make a little difference, but not a ton. Not a ton. I think this ultimately is just a little too vanilla. And let's go with a 2. I'm going to do a bonus card, and then we will head out. Weight of Consciousness. 1 and a white for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature can't attack. You tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a creature type, and you can exile the enchanted creature. So you get half of a pacifism for 2 mana, which is what a pacifism costs. But you do have ways of exiling that creature later. Yeah, that's tough. I think white just has more options, better options than something like this. It's kind of intriguing, but I don't know. You can exile stuff in a better way than this. And you know, in a white weenie style deck, you're putting a lot of creatures on the table. You're using something like Battle Screech. That's putting 2 birds on the table. Those are the same creature type. You can tap those. You've got access to changelings out there that would be able to do something like this. You can make soldier tokens or human tokens or lots of different creature types that you can get. If you're playing the Novice Inspector and the Thraben Inspector, those share creature types as well. White Weenie, you're also playing the Rafine's Informant. That's also a human. So there are a lot of humans in that deck. You could make this work. You put this on a big threat to I guess you can actually do it a couple ways. You either put this on a big threat that the opponent has, so it can't attack you, just something that has just a big ball of stats that's scary. Okay, you've stopped the attack part at least. That's good. But you can also put it on a smaller creature that has a good activated ability or something, or a triggered ability, and you're able to exile that creature too, either at that time or at a later time. I'm coming around on it a little bit, but I think it also gives just too much opportunity for your opponent to remove this enchantment before you get a chance to do what you need to do with it. And that doesn't quite work for me. Let's give it I'm going to give it a 2.5. I see its usefulness, but we'll call it there. The road to 100 continues. See you soon.